The mansion trembled with the sound of shattering glass as Michael slammed his hand onto the table. The stock reports had arrived, and the numbers were off. At least that's what he wanted his fiancée, Vanessa, to think. He had orchestrated this. Months of planning, every account altered, every asset hidden. He wanted to see the truth. Vanessa, draped in silk, looked at him, her perfectly manicured nails tapping nervously against her champagne flute. "Michael, what's happening? Why are all your accounts frozen? You're your assets." Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with that faint trace of panic that he had been hoping to see. Michael leaned back, calm, almost casual, as if he were the one being betrayed. "I don't know. It's all gone. Every bit. Maybe it was a bad investment, or a scam. His voice trailed off, giving her room to react. And react she did. Vanessa's lips pressed tightly together, her eyes darting toward the butler and the staff, who were awkwardly shuffling past, whispering to each other. She was calculating. He noticed the way she measured whether helping him could cost her reputation or wealth. "You mean, we're broke?" she finally whispered, her voice almost a hiss. Michael let out a hollow laugh. "Apparently. I guess we'll find out who really loves me now." Vanessa's face changed instantly. The sparkle faded from her eyes, replaced by cold realization. I think I should go." "Go?" Michael's eyebrows shot up, mock hurt flashing across his face. "Go? Right now?" "Yes. I need to think." She turned on her heel, her heels clicking across the marble floor, leaving behind a faint trail of perfume and disbelief. Michael didn't stop her. He had wanted to see this. The woman he had thought loved him had abandoned him the second the glamour vanished. Alone, the silence of the mansion was deafening. That's when Clara, the maid who had been working quietly in the background for years, entered with her usual calm demeanor. She wasn't someone who fawned over him, didn't care about the chandelier or the art on the walls. She cared about people. And in that moment, she saw the hollow in Michael's chest, the quiet despair. "Sir, are you all right?" she asked softly, approaching him with a tray of tea she had made earlier. "I'm surviving, Clara," he replied, forcing a smile. But it faltered as he noticed her gaze, unwavering, steady. "I don't need anyone to feel sorry for me." "I'm not feeling sorry," she said, placing the tray on the table. I know you, and I know you're still the same person, whether the money's here or not." Michael blinked. Her words were simple, yet they carried weight he hadn't expected. All these years, she had been around, cleaning up the mansion, managing chaos quietly, never asking for anything, never pretending. And now, her presence was more comforting than the wealth he had flaunted for years. The next morning, Michael realized the depth of his plan. He would live as if he had nothing, even within his own mansion. Every staff member was instructed to act as if he were now a client who couldn't pay. Vanessa's absence was noticeable but expected. She didn't call, didn't text, and that absence spoke louder than any words. Meanwhile, Clara continued her routine. She tidied the rooms, cooked meals, and, without him asking, checked in on him. One day, Michael, pretending to struggle to reach a shelf, muttered, "Clara, would you help me with this?" She chuckled softly, setting the tray aside. "Of course, sir. You don't have to struggle alone." Her hands brushed his for a moment as she lifted the box. And Michael felt an unexpected warmth, a spark he hadn't allowed himself to notice before. It was genuine. No wealth, no status, no ulterior motive, just kindness. Days passed, and Michael watched as Vanessa's absence became obvious in his life. Invitations to her social gatherings arrived, all declining him without question. Friends whispered, some avoiding him, some offering shallow sympathy. The mansion, once vibrant with luxury, now felt heavy, suffocating even, without the glitter of wealth and insincere smiles. Clara, on the other hand, stayed. One evening, Michael collapsed onto the sofa, pretending exhaustion. Clara rushed to his side, eyes wide with concern. "Sir, you're not well. You need rest. I'll make you some herbal tea. You've been pushing yourself too hard." Michael's lips twitched into a wry smile. "You care too much, Clara." "I care about people, sir. I don't care if they have money or not. That's all." He paused, studying her face. The lines of sincerity, the softness of her eyes, the gentle steadiness. It was something he had never seen in anyone else. Vanessa's love had been flashy, performance-based. Clara's was quiet, constant, unwavering. Over the next few weeks, Michael watched her interact with others, how she treated the staff, the gardeners, even delivery people, with dignity, respect, and kindness. No one had to bow to her. She didn't expect anything. And yet, everyone adored her. It was a power Michael hadn't known existed, the power of genuine humanity. One night, during a particularly stormy evening, a minor accident occurred in the kitchen. Michael, pretending to carry supplies, slipped on a wet tile. Clara's scream echoed through the mansion as she rushed to him, barely catching him in time. "Sir, are you all right? Speak to me," she shouted, her hands trembling as she held him upright. I'm fine," he murmured, his heart hammering. But the truth was he felt shaken, not from the fall, but from the intensity of her care. "Clara, why do you care so much?" She shook her head, tears glistening. "Because someone has to. You've always cared about others, even if no one noticed. Now, it's my turn to notice you." The storm outside seemed to echo the storm within Michael. He realized then that his experiment had shown him something far more valuable than wealth or status. True love didn't glitter. It glowed quietly in moments like this. A few days later, Michael received a call from Vanessa. Her voice, full of false charm, came through the phone. "Michael, I heard what happened. Are you coping?" He smirked, setting the phone down. "I'm surviving," he said, glancing at Clara, who was arranging the flowers by the window. "Surviving?" Vanessa's tone sharpened. "I heard you've lost everything, and you're still yourself? This is humiliating for me." Michael's smile turned gentle. "Vanessa, I lost nothing that mattered. You see, wealth can vanish, but loyalty, kindness, and love, those remain." He hung up. Clara turned to him, her soft voice barely above a whisper. "Sir?" He approached her slowly, heart racing. The tension he had orchestrated now replaced with something real. "Clara, you've shown me what love really is. Not the kind that flutters with riches, but the kind that stays when everything else disappears." Her eyes widened, a blush creeping across her cheeks. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he replied, taking her hand. "Just stay with me. That's enough." The mansion, once silent and empty, now felt alive again, not because of money, but because of genuine connection. And Michael knew that the life he had built, the wealth he had flaunted, had led him here, to someone who saw him for who he truly was. As days turned to weeks, Michael gradually revealed small parts of his wealth, not for impressing her, but as a gesture of gratitude and trust. Clara accepted nothing in return, her joy purely in seeing him happy and well. And somewhere in the midst of this, Michael crafted a plan, not to test anyone else, but to ensure that Clara's life was forever changed for the better. A surprise promotion, a scholarship, and opportunities she had never dreamed of, all prepared quietly. The twist, however, came unexpectedly. Vanessa, seeing the renewed bond, tried to re-enter his life, flaunting charm and regret. Michael looked at her, a calm smile forming, realizing that the woman who had abandoned him for wealth would never be a part of the life he now cherished. You've changed," Vanessa said, unable to hide her envy. "I've learned what truly matters," Michael said softly, glancing at Clara. "And you were never meant to be part of it." Clara's hand found his again, her eyes glimmering with trust, admiration, and something deeper that neither needed to name yet. Michael knew, without a doubt, that this was love, the kind that didn't need wealth, pretense, or drama. It was steady, patient, and unshakable. The mansion, once a symbol of his power, was now a home filled with laughter, kindness, and quiet love. And Michael realized, as he looked at Clara, that sometimes losing everything is the only way to truly find what matters most. Days passed, and Michael noticed subtle changes in himself. The emptiness he had once masked with wealth now felt replaced by a sense of purpose. Clara's presence wasn't just comforting, it was grounding. He found himself looking forward to her small gestures, a cup of tea perfectly brewed, a smile when he returned from errands, the way she organized the mansion with quiet efficiency. One evening, while he sat on the balcony pretending to read, Clara brought him his dinner tray. "Sir, it's getting cold," she said softly. He glanced up, catching the faint blush on her cheeks. "Thank you, Clara. Really, you don't have to every day." "I like doing it," she admitted. "It's simple, but it makes me happy to see you well." Michael swallowed hard. Those words, simple, genuine, pierced deeper than any luxury he had ever owned. For the first time, he didn't feel like the billionaire, the test master, or the orchestrator. He felt human, vulnerable, alive. The very next day, a crisis hit harder than he had anticipated. One of his financial emergencies escalated into a public scandal. Rumors of bankruptcy spread across social media and news outlets. Paparazzi showed up at the mansion. Vanessa, of course, heard immediately. She called him repeatedly, her tone dripping with faux concern. Michael ignored her, turning instead to Clara, who had never faltered. "Sir, what will we do?" she asked, panic lacing her voice as a photographer peered through the window. Michael smiled wryly. "We do what we've been doing. We survive. That's all that matters." Clara's eyes softened. "And each other?" "Yes, each other," he said, and for a moment, the mansion no longer felt like a fortress of solitude. It felt like a home. The tension escalated further when Michael's illness, previously staged as a minor fatigue, became more convincing. A faint fever, a dizzy spell, and suddenly Clara's protective instincts were in overdrive. She rushed to his side, wiping his forehead, feeding him spoonfuls of soup, refusing to leave even for a moment. "You're too stubborn," she scolded, though her voice quivered slightly. "You pretend you don't need help, but you do. You can't carry everything alone." Michael's chest tightened. "And yet, you carry my heart anyway," he whispered. Clara froze. "Sir?" Her voice faltered. She had never allowed herself to say these words before. She had never let anyone see that part of her, because for years she had been invisible in a world obsessed with wealth and status. But here, now, everything felt safe, honest, and real. Weeks rolled on, and Michael slowly started revealing small parts of his true identity, not to flaunt, not to impress, but as acts of trust. Clara never asked for anything. She accepted nothing in return, yet Michael could see the pride in her eyes every time he acknowledged her efforts. Then came the moment that would cement their bond forever. One evening, a minor fire broke out in the kitchen, a careless spark from a candle. Flames licked the edge of the counter, and smoke filled the room. Clara rushed in first, dragging Michael out despite the heat, her arms burning slightly as she shielded him. "I've got you, sir. I won't let anything happen to you," she shouted, coughing as they reached the hall. Michael, shaken, finally understood the magnitude of what he had orchestrated. Wealth could never have saved him here. Only her. Only Clara. Her courage, her heart, her unwavering loyalty. It was in that moment he decided. She wouldn't just be part of his life. She would be the center of it. No schemes, no tests, no pretenses. Just them. Vanessa, of course, tried to reappear at the worst possible moment. She had heard rumors of the heroic Maid and the scandalous mansion events. Showing up at the gates, she called his name, voice sweet but laced with calculation. "Michael, I heard everything. I can help. I can fix this," she cried. Michael turned slowly, glancing at Clara, who stood beside him without hesitation. Her presence was steady, protective, unwavering. "Vanessa," he said calmly, "you had your chance. You left when I had nothing. You are not part of this life anymore." Vanessa's face drained of color. "But I love you." "You never loved me," Michael replied. "You loved what I had. And that is not love." Clara reached for his hand, a gentle warmth that contrasted with the cold wind blowing from the mansion gates. "Sir, we've got each other," she whispered. "Yes," Michael said, his voice breaking slightly with relief and emotion. "And that's enough." Days later, he surprised Clara. Invitations to luxury events, new opportunities, and even a small fortune were presented, not as a bribe, but as acknowledgement of her loyalty and pure heart. She accepted with quiet gratitude, her eyes gleaming, not with desire for wealth, but for the life she had earned by staying true and kind. One evening, as they walked through the mansion garden, Michael took her hand, the world outside forgotten. "Clara, I spent my life chasing power, money, and admiration, but I lost sight of what really matters. You showed me that life is about love, loyalty, and heart. You are my destiny." Tears filled her eyes. "Sir, I never expected this. I never thought anyone would notice someone like me." "I notice you," Michael said firmly. "Every day, and I always will." As the sun dipped below the horizon, The mansion glowed with a warm light. No longer a symbol of wealth or power, it now stood for home, trust, and a love that had been tested by fire, betrayal, and deception, and had survived. Michael smiled at Clara, feeling a weight lift from his chest. Losing everything had been the best thing that ever happened to him, because in losing, he had gained what truly mattered. And for anyone watching this story unfold, remember, the people who stay when everything disappears are the ones who truly belong in your life. If you're loving this journey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below to let us know what part of the story touched you the most. As weeks turned into months, their bond deepened. Simple moments, a shared cup of tea, laughter over small mistakes, quiet evenings on the balcony, became priceless treasures. Michael realized he no longer needed the validation of social media, high society, or Vanessa's fleeting affection. All he needed was Clara, her honesty, her care, and her unwavering heart. One final test remained, not of wealth, but of trust. Michael invited Vanessa to a gathering, curious to see if she had truly changed. But Vanessa, predictably, revealed her intentions. She tried to impress, to manipulate, to reclaim what she had lost. Michael calmly watched, holding Clara's hand. "She's irrelevant," he murmured to Clara. "She always was," she replied, smiling softly. Michael laughed, a deep, relieved sound. "Then let's focus on what matters." Hand in hand, they walked back into the mansion, leaving behind false pretenses, shallow affections, and a life obsessed with wealth. The mansion, alive with warmth and laughter, had finally become what it was always meant to be, a home built not on riches, but on love. And as the camera, or the audience watching, would linger on their smiling faces, the message became clear. True love doesn't glitter, it stays. True loyalty isn't loud, it's quiet. And sometimes, losing everything is the only way to discover what truly matters. So, if this story moved you, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and comment below who you think showed the greatest courage, Clara or Michael. Your opinion matters, and we'd love to hear it.